Hello, everybody. All right, so I know I just kind of threw this up here like, hey, I want to do a live video, and then boom. So most of you are probably going to be watching this later, which is great. Still ask questions. I'll come back and answer them. But we had a really good question. It was from Brooke, and she asked, what do you do when someone says they're looking for the best price and you haven't even said a word yet? Okay, you haven't been able to get your pitch. And this happens in a lot of industries. Insurance is one. I just want cheap, insurance. I want the best price on an appliance. I want the best price on on just about anything. Real estate. I want the best price on anything. Anytime you get into a situation, especially with things like insurance that are intangibles, you never get to see your insurance until you need it. All right. People just think about price because there's no thing you can grab onto. All right. Now, the problem with what people normally tell you to do is that they'll tell you to do things like, just ignore it and keep going. It's like they'll tell you that what you have to do is give a whole lot more information. It's like, either ignore it, then, I'm going to use logic and explain it to you. And there's nothing that chases people away faster than logic. All right. Because what it does is now you're treating people like they're stupid. All right. So, let me do this. Let me logically explain to you why a high price is a good thing, or my price is justified. No. Okay. So logic almost never works. Logic is the thing that backs up an emotional decision that's already been made. I mean, there's the core of what we teach, and let me say that again, because it's really important. Logic is the thing that backs up an emotional decision that has already been made. Okay, so when you get them to emotionally commit, logic, I mean, you start using what the brain does that's really cool. It does confirmation bias. Once it's made its decision, then it starts gathering facts that match the decision that they already want to make. Okay, so it makes your job, as being a persuader and convincer, whether you're in sales, whether you're in management, whether you're negotiating for anything you want to buy. All right. Once you get them to make that emotional commitment, and the brain will start biasing towards things that gather up information that justify that. It's the same process where, you buy a certain car and you never saw one before, and suddenly there's 1,000 on the road, because your brain gets primed to start looking for that. And that's what's so cool about the brain, because the brain is just crazy. All right. So then they'll do that. They'll say, no logic. Then they'll say, well, you need to demonstrate value. Okay. Now, when someone says they just want the best price, and you say, wait a minute, let me just show you the huge value you're getting for the price that you're getting. Okay. And most customers feel like you just ignored what I said, and now you're just going to give me a bunch of facts and figures. Boom, it goes back to more logic that I don't want to hear. All right. Then there's this horrible thing that salespeople do. And it's like, well, if you want a Ferrari, you can't expect to pay, economy car price for it. I mean, if you want the best, you're not going to get that. Most people understand that already, but you got to remember the kind of person you're dealing with. Someone who's just telling you want to shop on price. Okay, they're either poor, cheap, or stupid. Okay, I mean, I almost never buy the cheapest thing, when it comes to stuff like that. I have, but all right. But and it just goes on, blah blah blah. I mean, I've seen some of the worst advice. Okay, so here's the things. All right, I call it DIG. All right, DIG. Debate, ignore, or grovel. All right. These are the things that salespeople do. I'm going to get into a debate with you about what my price is justified. You haven't even started the process yet. Okay. So, so what you want to do instead? Let me see. I'm looking at my notes. I actually made 3 pages of notes for this. It's actually good. But you got to figure. All of these things are good. And a lot of these are the best you can possibly do, unless, okay, tooting our own horn, unless you have the skills that we teach, okay? Now, the important part about the skills that we teach is this, all right? You have to be able to elicit emotions in people that create movement. All right. You know, most sales process is just basically force feed people information until they either explode, agree, or run away. All right. But it's so easy to elicit an emotion that generates movement. It just has to feel good. People tend to move towards what feels good. You know, the second thing is, you know, and then of course, you know, putting a trigger on that so that you can bring that emotion back up anytime you want, to basically be an emotional exclamation point for the point, whatever you're saying. Okay. And it's funny because the brain begins to associate these things very quickly. I think I'm going to do another video later on what happens when you fire a good anchor inside the brain and the brain chemistry to explain it. Okay. The second skill is rapport positioning, knowing how to read people and know what position you need to be in order to have the maximum amount of impact on that specific personality type. Okay. You have that, and then a set of strategies that actually fit that skill. Okay. You want to be able to fit that skill. So when you have the strategies that incorporate the other skills of knowing how to have rapport, understanding how the brain buys and does things, and you know, understanding the triggering and the emotions and what emotions generate movement, what emotions generate freezing. Okay, and then the strategies of using those things, like, you know, setting an emotional time bomb off so that when your competition, if they leave, your competition talks to them, that you set off an emotional time bomb that explodes in their face, or you set off a really good emotional trigger in the future that when something happens, they do something really good, like refer customers to you and do referrals. Okay, so if this is making sense, let me know so far. So I, you know, just like type a yes or something like that, or you know, you're totally full of crap, Tom. I don't understand what you're saying. So I want to put a strategy together for you that fits the skill we're talking about. Okay, all right, just really quickly, you know, because this is going to happen anytime you have somebody who throws something on you like price. All right. The first step is the person says, I want a cheap price. Now I'm going to assume a couple things here first. I'm going to assume you've talked to them before you started getting into the presentation a little bit. And if you didn't, you back it off a little bit, but you know, that you have set a really good emotional trigger, and that you set a trigger that is not so good. For instance, all right, I'm gonna, since Brooke, you know, is an insurance, I'm gonna use insurance as an example. Okay, so you know, everybody out there probably already has insurance. This is given. Okay, I mean, if they don't, then they're really stupid. But you know, so they're shopping for insurance for a reason. Okay, so if you're getting a call with somebody and everyone insurance, you're getting them on the phone. It's like, so you know, one of those things you want to ask them is like, okay, what kind of problems are you having with the insurance company that you're with? And some of them are going to say price. Price feels bad. That's good. Get a negative, you know, emotional trigger on price. And so, you know, what are you looking for? You know, what would make you feel better? I mean, is it you know, you just want a better price, you want better service, whatever. You know, what is it that's going to feel good? You know, and you'll get a good trigger. It could be anything. It could be, how was your day? Are you enjoying the weather? Have you seen a cuddly bunny? I don't care. Have you seen my baby goats? All right, any of those things. Okay, you get a good feeling on that. All right. Now, when those words come out of their mouth, okay, when they say the words, you know, I just want the cheapest price. All right. Do not enter the debate. The first thing you want to do is agree with them. I know it sounds stupid. All right. Because you think it sounds like you're validating their objection, you're validating what they're saying. But I'm just going to say, I'm going to drop to like equal friend. Okay. I'm going to drop back a little bit in rapport and drop it. Of course you do. You know, everybody wants the best price on something. I mean, nobody wants to overpay, right? You know, what you're really looking for is the best price. And, you know, and I totally get that. All right. You're offering no resistance. Now, this really, for most people, throws them off completely, because they're used to what other salesmen do. All right. Which is, I'm going to tell you that, you know, why price is important, you know, why, you know, you don't want the cheapest price, why my price is better. You guys getting that? You understand? So that, the fact that you move resistance, it's almost like mental jujitsu. All right. They come at you, you slide aside, you just let them run on by. And they stop and they go, what just happened? Okay. Their mind cannot process the fact that it has no resistance. All right. That you are actually being agreeable. And you use a variation of like the objection destroyer. And if the objection destroyer is in the gold members area, or we're going to be teaching at the seminar this August, all of this stuff, the rapport and the triggering and the emotion stuff and how to get that, we'll cover it. I'm just going to assume you guys kind of know a little bit about it. But so the next thing you do is you want to move price aside without sounding like you're going to ignore it completely. All right, and in the way the brain is set up, it loves visual cues. That's why setting triggers all over the place and stuff like that works really, really well, because you can, the brain associates space and emotion and all of that. So if I take the objection that I understand that you want price, okay, and then I slide it aside, and I said, that's great. Let me ask you a few questions before we get to that to make sure that I do get you the best price you can get. All right, does that make sense? You're just moving this aside visually. And it does take it out of the way. Now, you've got to put something here because it'll slide back in, but okay. And as you slide it aside, you want to say, let me ask you a few questions so that I can get you the best price we can for what you're looking for. And as you're doing that, notice I shift my position a little bit. I'm a little bit of caring leader. Let me show you what we can do for you. Let me show you what we do have. Let me show you how this will work for you. And at the same time, I'm hitting that good feeling, that good anchor, like, yes, that really does feel good that you're saying that. Yes, it really does feel like you want that. Yes, it really does feel good that I should be getting more information before I get the price. Does that make sense? All right. I keep asking that, but because I'm massively insecure. No, I'm not. All right. And now, for instance, I'm going to use the insurance. This works in real estate as well for people who want discount commission services, where the real estate agent is going to do the minimum unless you have a question, and then they're going to charge you more money. So it's great for that as well. But I've got the killer question that we came up with. We were talking about it this morning, and the question that really, really gets to people because they're money motivated. You ask them this question: how much do you want to pay if? All right. And you say that, how much do you want to pay if, as you're firing a bad feeling trigger? All right. How much do you want to pay if you do get in a car accident? How much do you want to pay if your house does burn down? How much do you want to pay if, if you need legal advice and you're with a discount real estate agent? All right. How much do you want to pay if there is a problem? I'm going to give you an example. So a while back, we were doing a house. It was one of the houses that we were remodeling, some of our investment properties. And there was this place that sold granite countertops for $18.95. Okay, that's about half price of anything you can get anywhere else. All right, it's like, wow, that really is good, And this is where Google has killed scam artists, because you can look them up, you can find them. Don't lie on the internet; people will find out. All right, so we look it up. And it's like, first of all, if everything goes perfectly, they're wonderful. But if you have a problem, they do not back up their product at all, even a little bit. Okay, does that make sense? All right. So the thing was that it's like, okay, so I ended up paying, $36-40 a square foot for granite, because these people don't back it up. So how much do you want to pay if? And now here's the cool part. It ended up in this specific time that the people we used had to end up replacing this granite countertop 3 times. The first time they miscut it. The second time they tried to use 2 pieces of granite that were different colors and didn't work out. And the third time they did it right. If I had gone for the cheap granite, they would have told me no. They would have said, they would have found some kind of reason why it wasn't their fault. And I would have been out, thousands of dollars. So do you understand the question? All right. How much do you want to pay if? How much do you want to pay if you have a claim? in your insurance company. And it's true. I mean, do you want a $250 deductible? That's going to cost you more. Do you want a $5,000 deductible? That's going to cost less. Okay, do you want to assign the value here or here? You know, it's all relative, okay? The whole goal of this is to make the long-term result of saving short-term money more expensive than the $50 a year that it's going to make, that it's going to save them. And this is where real estate agents screw up. They're not real estate, insurance agents really screw up too. I mean, I got so mad at my insurance agent, honestly, God. I mean, I was mad, all right? Because I got an umbrella policy, and I needed to boost something from $300,000 in coverage to $1 million in coverage. And I called her up, and she got back to me and goes, "Oh, that'll be an extra $4 a year." You don't understand how many shades of purple I turned when I realized I could have had an extra $700,000 of coverage for $4, and someone didn't tell me because they were so focused on trying to get me the cheapest price that they weren't giving me the best service. Oh, I was like, anyway, so you go to the next step. Now notice, okay, when you're saying how much do you want to pay if, okay, you want to be, you want to hit the bad feeling, the bad trigger, the bad anchor on that, okay? So that you want them to have a bad feeling when you ask that question, because you want them to kind of freak out a little bit, all right? Now, the position of rapport you have is kind of equal, it's like this. So if I was asking the question, I said, okay, that's great. The question you need to ask yourself, I actually dropped to like equal or a little subordinate, all right, is like subordinate student is, how much do you want to pay if you have a claim, or if you have a problem, or if something breaks, or if it doesn't go smoothly? Have you ever thought about things that way? And you're firing that bad anchor the whole time, the bad trigger, so they have a bad emotion showing up. All right. Then you want to move them to the next step of the process. Okay. And I don't know what the process is. The next step could be, the next step, we're talking about this. The next step is I need to get some of your information to find out what we can do for you. Okay. That's the next step. And on doing that, you hit the trigger for the really good emotion. You're going to be at a level of rapport that is mildly dominant leader. The next step is this is what we should do. All right, then you get the next one. So, okay, based on what you've told me, here's the best price that we can do for you, okay, that gets you the best coverage and eliminates all of those things that we talked about, bad anchor, okay, bad trigger, all those things that we talked about that you would worry about if things did go wrong. The next step is we need to get some paperwork signed up and get you going. All right, the next step is, we work on this a lot in the seminar, okay? In August, a lot of you guys are going to be there. It's going to be awesome. But, we take this and tailor it to your specific sales niche, or your specific outcome, whether it's sales, whether it's social, whether it's getting a job, all of this stuff. If you take this and switch it around, even if you go to a job interview, you go to interview for a job, their goal is to get you for the cheapest price possible. Let's play with this for a second, because we've got a few more minutes, so I want to play with it, all right? Their job is to get you to get you for as cheap as they can possibly get you, all right? Anybody gone for a job interview recently? This is it, okay? Well, we want to do this, we want to do that. And it's like, I totally agree. I totally understand that you want to get the best person in here for the best deal, okay? But my one question for you is, and then you go mildly dominant to the interviewer, okay, is how much do you want to pay if you have to get someone in here that doesn't do the job right, okay? And you have to hire somebody else to go in there. Now you're either, having to get rid of somebody or pay double. And all I want is X. Boom, hit good anchor. Does that make sense? Come on, everybody out there. I mean, we're the worst. We're out there, we always shop price. Yeah, I mean, this is great for negotiations, Clyde, you're right. you start, and they want the cheap price. And it's like, it's great. I understand. If I were you, I'd want the same price too. Okay. I'd be looking for the cheapest price I can get because yes, he's got negotiations coming up, later this week. All right. But if you think about it, go through the process again. All right. Really quickly. Let me back it up because I want to, all my papers and my notes, papers and notes. So, all right. Step one, agree with them. Yes, I agree. You should probably, I totally understand why you want the best price. Okay. Second, move price aside, get it out of the way. Let me run it through the real time. Say, of course, you want a good price. So price is really important. But I'll tell you what, let me work on something. Let me show you this and find out some information. I'm going to find out if the price is really important or if it's not. Okay. And you notice I don't know if you notice the positioning. It's like I'm going, of course it's important, equal, maybe subordinate, of price is important to everybody. And I'll say, I'll tell you what, let's do. Boom. I'm going to move my report position to a little bit dominant leader. Okay. Let me tell you, do this. Now, and it's funny because visually you're taking price out of the way. So let me tell you this. Let's find out a little bit more information. I've gone dominant leader. I'm showing you what to do. I'm telling you what to do. All right. Then I drop to equal. And after we do that, let's see how good of a price we can get you. All right. And then you do that. And the first question I ask is the killer question. How much do you want to pay if? Firing the bad trigger. How much do you want to pay if this doesn't go right? You have a claim, something goes wrong, you get the wrong person, you have to do it twice. Believe me, I've made all these mistakes, okay? I mean, if there's not a mistake that when I tried to cheap out didn't bite me in the ass, trust me, okay? All right. And then close to the next step of whatever your process is. If it's gathering more information, if it's getting some paperwork signed, if it's doing anything, okay? This being said, I'm going to give you an example real quickly of last night. We had we went out to one of our investment properties. We found some previous termite damage, so we called the termite people out to take a look at it. And the guy was pretty good. He's not really great at sales, but he was pretty good. And what we did was we basically beat him down on price. We didn't really beat him down. We made him feel really, really good about giving us about 50% off the price. Now I know some of that's built in, and then some more was built in, but we the whole time we're talking about him. They just had moved him from commission. Here's how terrible I am. Okay, let me tell you about him. So they had just moved them from salary to commission. All right. And so I asked him, so is that easier or harder? He goes, oh, harder. I said, why? Don't make as much money? He goes, no. Boom. I just anchored not making as much money. Okay. So Kim gets to be all the way through the thing. Kim does the dreaded, well, can I think about this tomorrow? And then as she said that, I fired the really bad feeling. And he's like, I'm losing the signal. All right. Then he's like, and I looked at him and I said, look, I mean, I understand this. I don't know if this is the best price you can give me, good feeling, or not, bad feeling. All right, but if you can see what you can do, I would appreciate it. Because I know you're out there working for money, and times are really hard. Boom, bad anchor. So let's see what we can do. And I think he knocked another 30% off. Okay, so that was like a real-time last night thing that we did using basically this. And was it the cheapest price? No, but the service is a bunch better. But does this make sense? So let me ask you this. Some of you have been here the whole time. Some of you just showed up. Do you have any questions whatsoever? All right. It's like, it's like Clyde said, we're not the cheapest and never will be, but the value is there at the end. I know that's true, but you dragged out the logic train. Okay. Now you're just trying to tell them logically what the truth is. Okay. Yes, logically that's true. We're not going to be the cheapest, but we're the best. Okay. They don't care about that. They care about how they feel when they're making that decision. Okay. Because that, and the other problem is everybody says that. Okay. Now, let me tell you that if you guys are in the gold members area at all, go and watch the Funnel Busters seminar. But when you say things that other salespeople have said, or other people that people have a negative reaction to, or these little cliches that seem to be, niche to every industry that people tell you, as soon as that comes out of your mouth, you're firing a trigger on them that categorizes you of being just like every other person that they've talked to that is in that category. So now you're in the same sales category of anybody else who's ever said that. And it's not what you want. Yeah. Okay, just double checking, Clyde. You get the idea, all right? You never want to get in that same funnel. And it's because the longer you last there, the narrower the funnel gets, the harder it is to climb out. You want to be the other person. Okay? That dry mouth. I have nothing here. Okay. So anyway, so that's it for this. Does that, for you guys who are here, does that kind of answer the question of what to do when someone just says, I want the cheaper price, and they you haven't said the first word yet? Okay? So anyway, for those of you who will watch this later, and let me, plug, inappropriate plug at the end. This August, the 16th, 17th, and 18th, we're going to be teaching this stuff here in Atlanta, all right? And this is just one of the things that we can teach. I'm going to teach you all the skills that go with the strategy. Strategy is great, but when you have the skills of rapport, anchoring, and strategies, and mindset. I mean, some people ask some really good questions that we're going to have to do more Facebook Lives on that are just all mindset stuff, where your mindset sabotages you. And in the seminar, the whole idea is to completely rebuild your mindset. Does that make sense? All right, you guys, look, you have questions, boom, get on there. I hope you're liking the Facebook Lives. I like them because I get to play a little bit. Let me know what you think. Ask questions. I will answer any questions for you people who are watching this later. But gotta run. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you all soon.